Hello, Durud and Shalom. Let me actually remove this. Okay, fantastic. How's my audio, guys? Let's see who's in our discussion group so we could jump right in. Let me actually bring up something so that I have the news ready so that when we jump into the discussion group, I have all the updates. All right, who's already in the discussion group? We already have people here, so let's just go in. My audio is good? Yeah. There we go. Let's go in.
Ren, yeah, check him out. Welsh singer. Very good.
You guys,
I'll check them
you guys
out.
have any friends that have issues with that LSD, like magic mushrooms?
Guys,
and,
no.
Oh, hey.
Talking about guys, let's not talk about those types of drugs. Are you guys
No,
trying
no,
to lose your...
no, it's for therapy purposes for depression and PTSD. But yeah,
No. First of all, your audio is really bad, so close your mic.
okay.
Never. Okay. So, and also, guys, never talk about those topics, even for whatever purposes you think you're talking about. If we want to keep our platforms, please do not touch those topics at all. Who's the mod here? No, guys, even when I'm not here, don't talk about that topic. Even when I'm not here, because we might lose this community.
I can do it.
All right, go ahead.
All right. You want me to read the rules out for the people?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay. First rule, as we just discussed, this is going to be transmitted live, so make sure you're not talking about any topics that YouTube doesn't like. We sometimes accidentally may run into these things. The mods or Armin himself will try to tell you, but try to be cognizant, try to understand that we're not making calls to violence here. We're not doctors to recommend any treatment. We're not a financial expert to be recommending any investment type thing. So make sure you're cognizant of that. All right, let me check one thing with my audio right quick. Also, make sure that might be a little better. Make sure that when you're going to post here on the side chat, you put a 1 there and you put like a short description of your topic. And these are the topics that we're going to be discussing. If you want to, chime in, have a response to a topic, you put a 2 in. I'm going to be looking at the chat and gathering the 1s for the topics and the 2s for the replies. Everything that's being said on this side chat, even though it's not being openly discussed in voice, will be going out to the public. So don't put anything private there and don't say anything crazy there, because it's just the same as doing it in your voice. We don't want that kind of message out there. Other than that, I think that's pretty much the rules. Welcome to anyone who's new here. We would love to hear from you if you're new. And I think with that, it would give it back to Armin.
All right. So I just quickly want to read the latest main update to you guys. And I want to see what you guys think about it. This is what everybody's talking about. Oh, thank you, guys. Somebody in the YouTube chat is saying, we love you, Armin. Well, thank you. That's very sweet. Okay, great. And Texas Troop is here. Fantastic. So we have admins and everything going on. Perfect. Okay, so this is the main update. So Iranian is, I'm reading it as it is. Iranian and U.S. technical teams working on the implementation of a memorandum of understanding. So are set to meet in Doha in the coming days. Reuters reported on Monday, citing a source with knowledge of the talks. Mediators have established communication channels to de-escalate any incidents, the source added. So we already confirmed this. It seems like both the Islamic Republic and United States are not letting anything get in their way to de-escalate, even with the tough talk on social media against each other, both in the Islamic Republic and President Trump. What reality on the ground right now, at least, is massive de-escalation, like huge push for de-escalation on both sides. It seems like we are getting a lot of tough talk on social media, but against each other. But both sides seem very, very interested in de-escalating, for at least for now. And here's what happened: U.S. president. So that was just the news, but then this officially happened. U.S. President Donald Trump said on Monday that Iran had requested a meeting and that it would take place in Doha on Tuesday. So this is what President Trump said. Iran has requested a meeting. It will take place tomorrow in Doha. Trump wrote on Truth Social. So I need to actually find the Truth Social and read it in full. In a post earlier in the day, the U.S. president said Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. So we've heard that already. But let me see if I could find the full Truth Social post. Wow, I'm not seeing it. If somebody, as you guys, did we get any twos in the chat? So while you guys speak, I'll go find that. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Next to speak on this topic is Noah.
Hey, Armin. Hope you're doing well. My main question is, do we know who's going to be at the talks in Doha? I heard a rumor that Steve Witkoff was going to be there, but I didn't know, like, is it going to be Vance or is it going to be Rubio that's going to go this time? And the same on the IRGC side.
So my understanding, as usual, is like, well, I mean, nothing has been announced as far as I know, but my understanding is that it's probably the usual. I don't know if JD Vance is going to go, but Witkoff and Jared Kushner are usually the main people that they talk about. Also on the Islamic Republic side, Araghchi, I don't know. So here's the thing: if Ghalibaf and JD Vance are involved, that's like really significant. That's high level. On a lower level, we have Araghchi and JD Vance and Jared Kushner. If it's military, it was probably CENTCOM officials and IRGC commanders that will be talking with each other. Does that answer your question? So nothing has officially been announced as far as I know, unless somebody knows something that I don't. I'm looking for the President Trump post. Yeah. Does that answer your question, Noah?
Oh, sorry. I thought you heard me. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
I'm not seeing President Trump's post. Texas Troop, if you find it, can you send it to me? The Truth Social post by President Trump talking about this. I don't know why I'm not seeing it. He's posting a lot. Oh, I think I found it. Well, this was earlier. So this was a Truth Social post by President Trump. The Islamic Republic of Iran shot at least. No, that was way earlier. That was from days ago. I don't know where that other post is. He posts a lot. Anyways, I'll just wait for somebody to send that to me on Telegram. But go on. Oh, thank you, Nilbani. All right, go on. Who's next?
We have topics next. If we're going to discuss this, we're talking about talks in Doha. Other talks that are happening is I did see a post that CENTCOM went to Lebanon and like the military leaders went to Lebanon and they're meeting there with the Lebanese military and the Israeli military. They're all having that little get together over there. So that goes into the joint operations I spoke about last week, I think it was. That's what I was hoping for, like joint operations and this kind of thing. I think it bodes well.
By the way, for people who might not like what's happening, I'm actually optimistic. If the Islamic Republic is suffering really bigly back at home inside Iran, like things are escalating. People are openly talking about the fall of IRGC, and then even people are talking about the removal of IRGC, which I haven't heard anyone talk about within Iran. But this is now becoming normalized to talk about. It seemed like everyone's understanding within Iran is that the Islamic Republic is being defanged and getting ready for slaughter after that's what pro-regime people's understanding is, and I do think they're accurate. They're noticing that even in ceasefire, everything is moving against them, and everything is being taken away from them. I actually genuinely think that this is genius plan from United States. I'm not saying it will work, but I genuinely do think, like, given that everything is happening, I do think that we're moving in the right direction. Like, it is the best plan. Again, but here's the thing: I don't think that means that we shouldn't be pressuring United States. I think that two things could be true at the same time. I think that what America is doing right now is the best possible plan. Not when I consider everything, I do think that this is the best you can do. It's if you had unlimited power, and if elections weren't a thing, and if running out of interceptor wasn't a thing, then no, this is not the best plan. But given all the limitations, I genuinely think that this is the absolute smartest plan. When you're recovering, Americans are busy in other places defending the Islamic Republic. So I think this is a recovery time for the United States. It's not a recovery time for the Islamic Republic, unlike what most people say. The Islamic Republic is losing most of its proxies as we're speaking, in the most key areas in Iraq and Lebanon. So this is, and also in Yemen, their moves are being made against Hezbollah. Very many people are not looking at that. That's also happening. But when I say two things could be true at the same time, this is what I'm talking about. I'm saying that we shouldn't, at least Iranians should keep putting this message out there that we shouldn't be negotiating with the Islamic Republic and no to any sort of a deal. Even though I think that United States, by going for a deal, if they're successful, I'm not saying a deal is possible, but I do, and I'm not saying it's not. I do think it's worth trying, getting the enriched uranium out of Iran with a deal. It doesn't make sense not to try that. But while I do think that makes sense, at the same time, I do think that the Iranian position, especially Iranian Americans, should be no to negotiating with our oppressors, no to a deal. I think that pressure should be there, because if that pressure is not there, everything works because we have accountability from all sides. Everything moves in the right direction because of the existence of people pushing for it and asking for having maximum demands. So I still see that push as useful. So while I myself as an Iranian see why the Americans are doing what they're doing, I also recognize why the Iranians, especially Iranian Americans, should keep up their advocacy for no negotiations and no deal. I know this sounds like a contradiction, but let me know if you disagree. Okay, do we have more twos?
We have more tools. We also have an update from Noah. He has here an article from News Nation that perhaps you can look into. He posted it right here in the side chat. And while you're looking at that, we can have Pedro. Pedro, go on ahead.
Pedro, go ahead. Pedro 1. Pedro 1. Pedro 2.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
So what I want to add, guys, is that one of the reasons why I see the Doha talks a little bit effective is because it's not because of a deal being reached with the IRGC. What I mean is that I think it will create a lot of infighting within the regime, because a lot of the ultra hardliners don't want the IRGC to negotiate with the Americans.
All right, Pedro, your audio is cutting in and out. So
I think the negotiations are causing a lot of infighting. What is your opinion on that topic?
Okay,
I think it's because of the TV.
Okay, maybe.
Let me just mute your audio. Okay, I'll mute your audio, Pedro. because your audio was cutting in and out. Monkey, what did you understand? What the question was?
He says these talks will also lead to more infighting in the regime because of the hardliners. I think that's a possibility. Also, because the funeral coming up, it brings up, oh, we got, A and corn for the, you know what I'm saying? That whole thing with the infighting, that might also be a part of continuing negotiations, have that side effect. We kind of had said that before, that's good for them to keep infighting.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's been happening a lot. Like I couldn't do an Iran update today because I did a show with Guy instead, but I have a lot of videos that it shows that the infighting is escalating to new heights. Is unbelievable. Like it's actually speeding up faster than faster than I thought. Much faster than I thought.
All right, with that, I don't know if you want to speak a little bit more on that article. If we're not going to that, maybe we could check on super chats. I don't see any more twos or a new topic. You let me know.
I think the next topic is the relevant to Iran as well. Let me just do the super chats really quickly. Dwayne, I think, has just became a member. Thank you so much, Dwayne, for joining our group. Fleshy Interloper, thank you so much for the super chat, saying most ship traffic taking North Channel, Iran supervised. Okay, so you're saying the Islamic Republic is getting is successful in moving the traffic from the northern part of the Strait of Hormuz. So that is not sustainable. Let me see what the oil prices are now. Okay, oil prices are at 73. So all of the crazy activity that we saw over the weekend didn't have much of an impact. We went from 72 to 73, still dropping month over month. We're still down 13%. That is crazy. Like Flesh Interloper, I don't know what's your take on this. We went to 72 and all of everything that happened over the weekend only brought it to 73. What the hell? Is the market open? What the hell?
It should close soon, but it had all day to go up and it didn't.
It didn't. This is impressive. This is really good for the United States. Fleshy Interloper saying looks bad for tolls and US credibility. Yeah, but then why the market is acting so favorably to this? That's interesting. I think something is happening behind the scenes, maybe that we don't know about. I think maybe is it possible that the United States is letting the Islamic Republic save face, just for the meantime, just so that they could get the negotiation. Maybe for the Doha talks, the Americans are basically allowing this to go through. Just so that the negotiations could happen, and the Islamic Republic is saying, like, listen, just let us save face a little bit. We'll figure everything else later. What do you think?
May I add another possibility? I think maybe these are, companies that are more aligned with the IRGC that would willingly use it. Like maybe I know they have their trouble with China when it comes to like who they're firing at. They seem to be a little scattershot, but maybe there's a little bit more communication behind the scenes, and the regimes that are aligned with Iran are using the lanes that they want used. Is that maybe a possibility?
Wait, say that again. Wait, let me give you context before you ask it again. So the Islamic Republic is really angry with Oman. The Islamic Republic is very insistent that the MOU that they signed means that the control of ship trafficking around the Strait of Hormuz is up to them. That's a retarded take. Why Arakshi actually came out and said that on State TV. That's a retarded take because that means that the Islamic Republic's understanding of the MOU is that the territorial integrity of Oman has been violated by the MOU. Like, that's not something that the Americans are even able to give to the Islamic Republic to basically make Oman was not even a signatory to the MOU, and the Islamic Republic is pretending that the traffic going through the Strait of Hormuz has to be managed by only go through the lanes that are approved by the Islamic Republic, completely violating the Oman's rights around that area. And Oman is now working with the Americans to allow shipment to go through the lanes closer to their country in the south. And Islamic Republic is now pissed with the Omanis, and that's why they're shooting drones at missiles that are going through the southern lanes. That's what's happening, right? But now, if fleshy interloper is confirming that ships are going through the northern lane, I don't know how the Islamic Republic has managed to get that happening. But given that oil prices are this low, maybe there's an arrangement happening behind the scenes between the Americans and the Islamic Republic. But what was your question again?
I was asking, could it be regimes that are aligned with Iran and want to appease that lane? China, for example. Maybe China would voluntarily, they wouldn't feel forced to use the lower lane. They would want to use the lane that Iran says, just to give it credibility. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, could this be a move by China and Chinese companies to give that lane credibility? That was my question.
So let me just make something clear. There is no regime that is aligned with the Islamic Republic. There are regimes that sometimes use the Islamic Republic, but there is absolutely no regime on planet Earth that is aligned with the Islamic Republic. Even China doesn't want the Islamic Republic to have control over the Strait of Hormuz. China is a bigger ally of the Arab countries around the Persian Gulf than the Islamic Republic, and it is very much interested in making sure that the Strait of Hormuz is free for all, with nobody being able to dominate it. It's actually something this is actually something that the Islamic Republic does that pisses off the CCP. Remember, the CCP gets even more oil from the Arab countries and Iraq and Kuwait and Saudi Arabia and all of that, more than it gets from the Islamic Republic. And its relationship with those Arab countries is way more important to it than its relationship with the Islamic Republic, right? So having the Islamic Republic be able to control the shipments going through the Strait of Hormuz is something that the CCP doesn't like.
Okay, that does make sense. Thank you for the answer.
No worries. Okay, what's the next topic?
All right, the next topic we have is Raham. Israeli regime doesn't exist without IRGC. Would agree with that. Raham, go ahead, please.
What?
That the Islamic regime does not exist without IRGC. That's basically military, that the mullahs are.
Oh, okay.
That's my guess, but I'm guessing Raham will go into it. Go ahead, Raham.
Go ahead, Raham. Raham, is he still here? I think he left.
Having a little trouble with the audio. I'm going to give him a couple of seconds. Raham, you still with us?
I
we
think
may
he's
have to
not here.
skip him for now.
I'm not seeing
We
him
may
here.
have to skip him. All right, maybe we can get a general situation report from Jeffrey. He was next on the list. Oh,
no,
he's back.
Raham is here. Raham, go
Okay.
ahead.
Hey, you hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, good. Yeah, so I don't think this is getting talked about enough, and it's judging by kind of what's been happening and how things have been going forward. I wanted to kind of just talk about how the IRGC kind of came about after the inception of the Islamic regime, and what the Islamic regime did to ensure that the main military power in Iran is not the Atesh but the IRGC. Sorry, one second. So they basically, and please correct me whatever I get wrong, Armin. They basically created the IRGC to be their pit bull against anybody who is against the regime, and they ensured that the IRGC has the most amount of power after the Iran-Iraq war by actually extending the war about 6 years to kill anybody and everybody that they wanted to, in the name of being traitors, or because we're a war, you can do whatever the hell they want. And they decimated the Artesh. And the way that they've kind of stayed in power was because there was no military power left to oppose the IRGC. And they funnel most of the money into the IRGC by robbing it away from the people. And now we're starting to see how the regime is kind of turning on some of the practices of the IRGC by what's going on, especially what's happened in the past, few days, where they're starting to silence their own crowd, who are the Haidaris, and they're basically against all the negotiations and all that other stuff. So I have what I'm saying is that this regime would not stay the way it is or last without the IRGC in place, because they're the muscle that they use to stay in power. And I don't think a lot of non-Iranians realize that, nor is it well known that that would be the case, because there is a bit of a divide between the IRGC, who is a military force, and the Haidaris and the ultra-religious people who are just basically, crazy Muslim lunatics. So I think that's kind of worth discussing.
Okay, so the IRGC is not the muscle that other people use. The IRGC uses other people. The IRGC is the greatest force within the Islamic Republic. It doesn't get used by other people. It uses other people, right? It is right now the ultimate power. It wouldn't be that much of a. You could, like, to some degrees, you could say that the Islamic Republic is IRGC, right? And the history of the IRGC was not meant to be what it is right now. It wasn't supposed to be the main dominant power of the Islamic Republic. Khomeini created the IRGC as an anti-coup measure against the Artesh. Khomeini has multiple videos directly saying that the IRGC should never become political, and he said that very aggressively when some people within the IRGC were becoming political. So what the IRGC is today goes against the very ideals of the Islamic Revolution of 1979 and the founder of the Islamic Republic. It goes against exactly what he directly said that the IRGC is not supposed to do. The IRGC did that. The reason why the IRGC managed to get to where it is today is because after Ruhollah Khomeini, the first supreme leader of the Islamic Republic, died, Ali Khamenei became the supreme leader, and Ali Khamenei was supposed to be a symbolic weak supreme leader. Rafsanjani was supposed to gain all the power as the president of the Islamic Republic. Rafsanjani picked Ali Khamenei as the supreme leader, lied about Khomeini actually picking him as the next supreme leader. The reason why Rafsanjani made Ali Khamenei the next supreme leader was because Ali Khamenei didn't have the religious credentials to be the supreme leader, so he thought he would be weak and he would be able to control him, and as the president he would have all the executive power and he will be able to control Iran. What happened though is that Ali Khamenei and the IRGC worked with each other, and the IRGC managed to get Ali Khamenei to become the absolute supreme leader, not just on paper, not just in constitution, but in practice as well. And Ali Khamenei used that power to keep giving more funds and more control, both political control and economic control, to the IRGC. So it turned into a cycle. They both keep supporting each other, and they pushed out Rafsanjani and his entire camp, and eventually they killed Rafsanjani in his own pool. They basically drowned him in his own pool. And then Ali Khamenei became the ultimate power along with the IRGC. The thing is that Ali Khamenei himself did not have the military power. It all came from IRGC, and IRGC managed to dominate most of the industries within Iran and became not just the greatest military power, but also the ultimate economic power within Iran. And at some point, people realized that the source of power is not Ali Khamenei. He has just soft power, ideological soft power, but he doesn't have the military and economic power of that the IRGC has. And everybody realized that going in this direction, IRGC will at some point become all the power, and the office of the supreme leadership is losing its power year by year. And with the death of Ali Khamenei, everybody expected the IRGC to do a complete takeover, and the supreme leadership office becomes more symbolic. And it becomes symbolic in a way that Rafsanjani originally envisioned. So that's the origins of it. When it comes to the relationship with the Haidari camp or the people who are the Islamic minded people who are pro Islamic rule but don't have the weapons, the people who we refer to as the Plaidari camp or the ideological pressure camp, or the streets as we call them. So the Islamic Republic has 4 segments: the IRGC, the supreme leadership, the negotiation facing track, and then the Plaidari camp. So we call that, like, we on this channel, to make it simple, we call the IRGC boots, the supreme leadership office, we call it the turbans, the negotiation facing track, we call them the suits, and the Plaidari camp, we call them the streets, right? So the relationship between the boots and the streets is that the boots use the streets, right? So the IRGC needs the streets for multiple reasons. But the thing is that the IRGC itself doesn't have direct soft power. It has military power, it has economic power, but the people with the ideology that is pro-Islamic rule, pro the ideals of the Islamic Revolution, they get funded by IRGC in mosques and Husseiniya. So there are different religious centers within Iran that get IRGC funding by different. And again, this is actually more complicated because there are different segments of IRGC that fund different mosques and different Husseiniya. Sometimes they are in competition with each other. But the most important part is that these people who are in the streets chanting and putting pressure on the regime or other people might get annoying sometimes, but they have their use on social media and in the streets. Their use they have 2 uses and 1 annoyance. The first use is that the IRGC, even with all of its power, it cannot be everywhere all the time suppressing the Iranian people. The Iranian people are so much against the Islamic Republic that the IRGC needs help. It needs the civilian population that supports it to be its eyes and ears and a civilian suppression force against the anti-regime people. So that's one of their use cases. The other use case is that the IRGC is now at the IRGC feels threatened by the suits. The suits are that camp. It gets filled by different segments. Before it used to get filled by the reformers. Now it's getting filled by Ghalibaf. But that's a segment of the Islamic Republic that usually is the weakest because it has no soft power, it has no military power, and it has no financial power. But it's a part of the Islamic Republic that is trying to open up to the rest of the world for their own survival and for the survival of the Islamic Republic. And that is something that threatens the very fundamentals of what make IRGC works. That because the IRGC has its grip on the economy because of isolationism, because of its command structure, because of lack of competition with the private sector, because of a lack of competition with the international companies, and because of anti-imperialism and anti-Zionism that makes it able to take the resources of the Iranian people to spend on military in Lebanon, in Syria, in Yemen, in Iraq, all the way to Israel and in Gaza, right? So that's ideology needs to be there, and these ideological pressure camp people, the Plaidari camp people, the streets are the ideological leverage that the IRGC funds to make sure that ideology exists. The problem is that as much as the IRGC funds these types of ideology and pushes for it, it's really hard to pull them back when you need to. So sometimes they get annoying. So they have 2 use cases and 1 annoyance. One is the pressure against the Iranian people. One, spreading the ideology of no negotiation and no opening to the world and to the West. Basically, aggression towards the world, especially to the West and Zion and Israel. That's the second use case. But the annoyance is that when they do need to be, sometimes these people they become more Catholic than Pope, right? Because you keep funding them to promote these extreme ideologies, but sometimes these people turn against the IRGC themselves because you have encouraged them to have maximalist demands. However, it doesn't make sense to completely get rid of them, because without them, the IRGC has no soft power. And even though this negotiation facing track has historically been the weakest within the Islamic Republic out of the 4, right now they're the strongest because they have the backing of the US military to make the negotiations happen. So for the first time, the IRGC is threatened by them, and there are people within the IRGC that do want to stop the negotiations from happening, even though they are temporarily going with it because they have to, or else they will be sold out and eliminated. But at the end of the day, if we keep going down this path and Ghalibaf wins, the very fundamentals that makes IRGC powerful and maintain its grip over the economy will break apart. And if IRGC falls, the entire Islamic Republic, that part, what you said is correct. If the IRGC falls, the rest of the three parts of the Islamic Republic will not be able to hold back the uprising of the Iranian people. Us Iranian people, when we want to topple the Islamic Republic, out of these four, only one of them is an obstacle, which is the IRGC. If that part gets weaker, the three is easy to get rid of.
That's exactly what I meant. Is that right now, because they were before, I'm sure they had disagreements behind closed doors, but publicly they were always a united front against everybody else. But now they are publicly opposed to each other, and it's becoming a way that if the IRGC is gone, and by the way of the proxies as well, which we're seeing, Hezbollah is getting destroyed. We saw this whole thing with Iraq now. Hashd is basically all their money's got confiscated, which is amazing to see. And that is hugely thanks to Trump, by the way. Every Iranian who talks crap about Trump should really, really, really give their head a shake. So if the IRGC is gone, the Islamic Republic, and in its current form and the way that it's become and it's evolved into, then the Islamic Republic will basically fall. There's nothing else, as you said, to hold anybody else back from taking out the regime, which is a great thing to realize and also to keep an eye on. Amazing explanation, by the way. Thank you. It's fantastic, master level.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, guys, if anybody understood what I just said in response to Raham's question, then you understand the Islamic Republic more than most people, if you understood everything I said. All right, who's next? We have a response?
Yes, we have a response. I would like to add, if you didn't understand it, this will be a segment, I suppose, later, and you can go over it a little slower, try to get all this to sink in. It was a little bit rapid fire, but it is dense with good information, right? Like, we understand this. I to absorb it, because we're in it all the time, it's a little easier for us. But this is excellent information. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, watch the clips, give it a like, leave a comment. The algorithm loves comments. So make sure you do that if you can. And next to respond on this, we have Jonathan.
Before Jonathan speaks, I also want to mention, if you didn't understand any parts of it, you could just ask me and I'll try to explain it in another way. All right, Jonathan, go ahead.
Great point.
Jonathan?
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Can you hear? All right. You said that if the IRGC falls, then the other two parts of the Islamic Republic won't be able to hold back the uprising. But now what I'm asking is, then how will the IRGC fall?
Okay, how would the IRGC fall? There are multiple ways, right? Which one is more likely? We could talk about that. We have the mass uprising of the Iranian people that overwhelm them, especially if they're armed. That's one way. There could be a coup, internal coup within the IRGC, and also with the Artesh against the IRGC. That could be another option. Another option is the slow method, which is using negotiations as a way to have somebody internally within the Islamic Republic that has the backing of the US military, and also money that would be released to them as a way to buy out people and intimidate people and slowly erode the grip of IRGC over the economy, opening the economy, privatizing certain segments, if you manage to push for that, improve the private sector, open the economy to the point where other companies are moving into the Islamic Republic, somehow either threaten or bribe the people within the IRGC to let go of their grip over certain industries and their political power one by one. Either first bribe them, and if they don't accept, eliminate them, assassinate them, threaten them. That would be by having an inside. This would be the slowest but the cheapest version for the Americans, because it wouldn't require them to come and spend a lot of expensive firepower in the Islamic Republic. They could have an inside man like Ghaliba, for example, that is basically being threatened that if we do go back to military operations, we'll just kill you. So you should be very motivated in making our plan work. If the IRGC loses its grip over the economy, it wouldn't be able to afford its military expenses. And if it won't be able to afford its military expenses, it will become weaker and weaker. And it will eventually, the new version of the Islamic Republic would disband the IRGC at that point. I mean, I'm not saying this will happen. I'm just saying that this is an option that you could go for. And without the IRGC, and here's something: the uprising of the Iranian people will continue, and it will keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and it will also get more organized, more united, under the leadership of Princess of Pahlavi. And I think that we are also going to move towards having the uprising become armed. So that in combination with not having IRGC be able to have so much control over the politics of the Islamic Republic and the economy of the Islamic Republic will push them back and back. We might have a situation. Okay, so I'm in favor with a mass uprising where the IRGC is taken over by the Iranian people. That is fantastic, because that would be the faster option. But I'm just giving you all the options, is that if we have armed Iranian people and a weaker IRGC, we might see a non-violent surrender of the Islamic Republic to the Iranian people, because they can see what's happening on the ground, and they would have to submit if they want to avoid a bloodbath from happening. So there are multiple ways of going about doing this. I don't know which one is going to happen. I think we should push for all three. Nobody could predict the future. So the three options are a coup d'etat, and a fast coup d'etat, like internal struggle within the Islamic Republic, a mass uprising of the Iranian people, preferably armed, or surrender by the IRGC once it loses its control over the economy and can't afford its expenses. Does that answer your question, Jonathan?
Yes, it does. Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right. I think with that, I see no more twos on this topic, and we can move on to super chats.
All right. We have 5 super chats. One is from John saying, love this channel. Thank you, John. Appreciate the super chat. And then we have Fleshy Interloper with the super chat saying, need market to go up to afford more supreme super chats. Okay. Well, Flesh Interloper, come to our group. Okay. Hey, Flesh Interloper, if you come to our group, let me know you're there, and I'll just increase you to VIP without, just come, because you have been a great contributor. So just once you are in our group call, let me know. And you are like that you're there, and I'll just you could put it in the chat in the group call. You know what? I'll just go and find one of your posts in the community tab, and I'll make you VIP so that you have always access to all our group calls. Okay. And thank you for always supporting us. So if you don't want to do a super chat, but you want to bring something to our attention, just do it in our group calls. And then we have Teresa. Thank you. Did I pronounce that right? Yeah. Thank you so much. Cute profile picture as always. Thank you so much for your super sticker. And this is Ramin. Thank you, Jahangir. Ramin, thank you so much for the super chat saying, hell yeah, monkey face to president. Wait, monkey president.
I would love to, but I can't really do right now. I will put my support behind Marcus Rubius Floridicus Cubanicus, first of his name.
Okay. I'll vote for you, Monkey, if you run for president. And then we have John Gear with another super chat. Thank you so much. Saying, bro, this autocorrect has me look like a Pocky. Well said, host. Thank you so much. That's John. All right. And then we have Noah. Thank you so much, Noah, with a super chat saying, I love coming to the group. It can be therapeutic. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. You know what? You guys are also therapeutic for me. So it works both ways. I appreciate that, Noah. I appreciate you saying that. All right. So what's the next topic?
Oh, the next topic is from Noah himself. So, get your little therapy out now with a great topic that he has for us. Any updates on the funeral?
Ooh, okay, go ahead, Noah. What do you?
Yeah. So, I heard from Goldie this morning. I mean, this afternoon. Sorry. Anyways, when the funeral is going to be on July 4th, and I mean, it starts on July 4th, but it's a couple-day procession, and then I guess I heard from her that they might take the body to Iraq, which would be interesting, and then bring it back for burial. I don't know if you have more info on that or anything else on the funeral.
Yeah, they're gonna take his body around for different Shias to be blessed by it and stuff. I've heard that they might be actually not having it on the ground. That was the initial news. We don't know if that's going to be the case. They're afraid of they might be just flying it around this, in the sky. That's what they said they're going to do, but that might be so ridiculous that they might change their mind. So we'll see if they do that or not. But the main topic when it comes to Ali Khamenei's funeral that everybody's talking about is whether or not his son will show up. That is what everybody is going to be looking for. And everybody is like in Iran, that is the main conversation. That will Mujtaba show up for his father's funeral on July 4th? If he doesn't, then so many people are going to say he's dead. There are 5, I think there's 4 or 5 reactions that I went over on the Persian show earlier today. If you want me, I could list them off. That from the pro-regime people, they're going to have 5 different reactions to Mujtaba not showing up. If he does show up, that's even a bigger deal. But if he doesn't, it's going to be very significant. I played a video earlier today on the Persian channel that we have, which with an audience that is mostly inside Iran, that some mullahs were coming out and saying that we shouldn't be showing Mujtaba until we get revenge for the killing of his father. Like saying like, oh, it's like it does. I don't know how he's connecting these two together, but he's saying like Mujtaba should stay in hiding until we get full revenge for Ali Khamenei, like meaning after we kill like Trump or something like that. So I don't know how is that even related, but to me that seems like they're preparing people's minds for Mujtaba maybe not showing up. That might be what's happening. We'll see. But again, the reactions to if Mujtaba doesn't show up, some people will come up with a coping strategy, and I have the perfect Shia narrative that I basically gave it to them as a cheat code for the Shias who are watching me. I gave them their cope. I don't know if you want, I think it would be too nuanced here for you guys. If you want me, let me know if you want me to tell you what cope strategy I offer to them. But other than cope, a lot of them are going to be like, okay, he's dead and the regime is lying to us. That's going to be another reaction. Another reaction is going to be he's been kidnapped and the regime has him in a cage somewhere, and we have to go save the supreme leader. Ghalibaf has locked up our supreme leader, and we need to do an uprising to save our supreme leader. That's another reaction that could be there. Another reaction is like, we don't know where our supreme leader is, but the regime is not being honest to us. Why aren't they being transparent to us? Why are they not explaining to us why can't they at least release an audio message from him? So a lot of people are going to be confused. That's another reaction. Another reaction, which will be the best one in my opinion, is many pro-regime people are going to be like, fuck the supreme leader. Ali Khamenei was a supreme leader. Mujtaba should have never become the supreme leader. He's not worthy of being a supreme leader. If Ghalibaf and Pezeshkian are forcing this on him to be silent or to not come out and actually be transparent with us, that shows that he's not strong, that he's not brave, that he's a weak supreme leader, that he wasn't chosen to be a supreme leader based on merits. He was chosen to be a supreme leader based only because he's his father's son. Those are the 4 reactions, and all of them is good because all of them means that the religious Durka jihadi Iranians are turning against the regime. Guys, I could promise, here's one thing that I've seen. There's almost nobody supports the regime anymore. The pro-regime, the so-called pro-regime people, they would be supporting the ideals of the 1979 Islamic Revolution. The current regime, as it is right now, is supported by almost no one anymore. No one, like very few people. The anti-regime people are obviously anti-regime, but the so-called pro-regime people, they think that Ghalibaf has either done a coup or maybe this new supreme leader is shit. But the current, they're like, I would say, I don't think this is an exaggeration to say the current support for the Islamic Republic is under 1%. Under 1%. But anyways, did I answer your question, Noah?
Perfectly, as always. Thank you.
No, thank you.
All right. Next to respond on this topic, we have me. Now, I was gonna talk about not just like the division that could come from this, but the actual security necessary to deal with the remains, because I think you and I saw the container, the shipping container ziggurat that they had to build to protect the remains of the first one, and how crazy that went. And we don't know if he's going to do like Mustafa's going to do a Zoom meeting or something, but security just around, like, we don't know how much these people are going to fight over the Tupperware container that has the remains inside that casket. And there is also probably security concerns to be had with that. So I would invite everyone to see that live stream where we showed it. I don't know if you can show it, but it was absolute insanity. The first funeral was insane. It was crazy. These people went crazy, and there is so much infighting in the streets within the Paidaris, within the streets and the suits more supporting of the Paidari or whatever they are. These fights that they're having, I don't know how that's going to play out in the streets. I don't know if they're going to be fist fights. I don't know if they're going to be fighting over that Tupperware container. They're going to have to fly. It's easier to fly because it's a lot lighter, I think. Not a lot remaining. They probably scooped it up with a vacuum or something. But whatever does remain, the people may fight over it. Like last time they had to do the helicopter, right?
Yep.
So they pulled down the helicopter.
What Monkey is referring to is that when the first supreme leader died, what year was that, guys? When the first supreme leader died, there was a mass. There was a funeral with millions of people that showed up, and at some point they got to the what is it, casket? Am I saying it correctly? Casket, and they broke it apart and they got his body out, and the helicopter came down to save the body of Ruhollah Khomeini. Yes, 1989. Thank you, Neil Bunny. 1989, and it was insane. Okay, so but here's the thing: I don't think Ali Khamenei has that much loyal support that Ruhollah Khomeini had. Still, I do think there's going to be large crowds. The Islamic Republic is very much investing so much to make sure large crowds show up. There's a lot because the Islamic Republic is motivated to show that the funeral. So here's the problem: the Islamic Republic, if they're not going to show Mujtaba, they have to say it was for security concerns. But they, at the same time, they don't want to say that it's going to be unsafe to have the funerals because then people won't show up. So, and the Islamic Republic is very, right now, because it's dealing with a crisis of legitimacy, the Islamic Republic deals with crisis of illegitimacy with large crowds. So large crowds showing up for Qasem Soleimani, large crowds showing up for the Bisodoe Bahman annual ceremony for the victory of the Islamic Republic, is always the Islamic Republic's way of showing that the people love me and I have legitimacy. So right now, which is when it comes to the legitimacy of the Islamic Republic, has never been as low as it is right now. So it's very, very desperate to make sure large crowds show up. And once large crowds do show up, there's going to be so many pro-regime people that are going to try to bank on it by I think a lot of bots. The Islamic Republic is going to spend a lot of money on people showing up on social media, sharing pictures, saying, see, the whole world is saying that nobody loves us, but look at the crowds that are showing up. By the way, it's not really difficult to show big crowds. Remember, guys, it takes only a few thousand people in a few streets to show very impressive large crowds, right? So you could, if you have 2 or 3 streets with 10,000 people pushed together, that looks very impressive on cameras, and then people come out and say it's millions. But 10,000 people in a small area in the streets looks like a really big crowd. So it's not actually very difficult to create videos that looks impressive, especially given that they will be handing out money, they will be handing out cooking oil, rice, free insurance. They publicly announced that they're going to be giving free insurance to people. There's going to be a lot of motivation for many government workers, which is a lot of them, are going to be, it's going to be mandatory for them to show up. There's a lot of soldiers from the IRGC that are going to be told that they need to show up, but they're going to be wearing plain clothes instead of military clothes just to fill in the streets. So there are ways to fill in the streets.
Yeah. I believe they also faked some of the videos that were earlier videos and put it out there as if it was recent videos. And some of those reports that we saw, I think it was earlier this year, for some celebrations, or at the end of last year. So yeah, I would expect them to do all kinds of trickery to make the crowd appear larger. And with that, we're closing out this subject and reading out some super chats. Do we have any super chats?
Yes, we have 5. Thank you so much, guys. Jahangir with another super chat saying, are we witnessing what happened to Iran in 1979 in USA, by the way? Oh my God, I hope not. Well, I mean, I hope not. I think USA is a lot farther behind than European countries when it comes to Islamization. What's happening to Europe is not a full theocratic Islamization like what happened in Iran, but we do have a more gradual Islamic growth in the politics. So what people need to understand is, for example, in the UK, with 6% of the population being Muslim, that 6% behaves like it's 20% by being more politically active and by acting like a very, very organized, united voting bloc. And then they use their influence in politics to change so for example, we saw Keir Starmer was much more worried about his Muslim voting base than their relationship with the world superpower United States when it came to responding to the Islamic Republic after the Operation Epic Fury started and the issues in the Strait of Hormuz. So you can see how significant of an influence only 6% can make. So United States is further behind than a country like United Kingdom, but a lot of the percentage of the Muslims is lower. But based on what you're saying in the UK, how significant of an influence only 6% makes on your politics, people need to realize that you don't have to get to a Muslim majority population for your politics to be significantly influenced by Islam. Only 6 or 7% would do the job. So people need to understand that 6 or 7% will be devastating to the values and the fundamentals of what makes your country a superpower and a great country. And this is why we have to be very worried about the left, because the left is very much motivated to open the borders, to bring in the people that will vote for the parties that open the borders. And by doing so, they're basically allowing in people with the most garbage of ideas and garbage of values that basically erodes the very fundamentals that made the United States a great country. So I would say that what's happening in the United States and in Europe is a more gradual version of what happened in Iran in 1979. However, because of the Iranian people's experience with what happens when the left and Islam work with each other, I think the Iranian people are the perfect people to warn the West, North America, and Europe regarding the consequences of this. I think the Iranian people are in a great position to fight against this leftist Islamic takeover, and I think they should be used as a warning sign, and all the people, all the patriots in European countries and North American countries should use their Iranian citizens and collaborate and work with them as a way to stand against losing their countries. And thank you for the super chat. BT June with the super chat saying, which is higher, their coping or Durka level? Well, the higher the Durka level, actually, that's a good point. So it depends on the type of Durka. So if you're very, very Durka, then you don't want to cope now these days, because here's the thing. It's hard to cope when you don't have Ali Khamenei to come and tell you everything is going to be okay. So Ali Khamenei used to be the leader who could pull back these people when they were getting too demanding. But Ali Khamenei is not there. So now the higher the Durka level you are, the less you're interested in coping and more interested in calling it as it is and basically admitting that we're losing, which is, guys, this is very interesting. We're now in a situation where the most realistic people are the most radical people within the Islamic Republic. The less radical you are, the less you are willing to admit that this is a defeat. But the more Islamic jihadi radical you are, the more you're willing to come out and say, fuck this shit, we're losing everything. This is not Islam. This is not the ideals of the Islamic Republic. So we're in a weird situation that the objective realist people within the Islamic Republic are the most jihadi minded ones these days. And they have actually the most correct takes of what's actually happening. Weird situation. And then we have Noah with the super chat, the Persian American. Thank you so much, Noah, saying, I forgot to add, I also believe if Cardboard Man doesn't show up, the regime will be even weaker due to his absence. He'll be seen as a coward. Yeah, he will be seen either as a coward or dead or in a cage. And each one of these is bad for the people for the standing of the regime. And people would lose faith in the regimes as more significantly than it is right now. So you're right. If he doesn't show up, it will be really bad for the regime standing. BT June with the super chat saying, Khamenei passed. Khamenei passed in my birth year. Oh my God. And Muhammad on my birthday. What the hell? Coincidence? Allah never deals in coincidence. Okay. Guys, save BT. BT June is becoming Muslim. Guys, you're going into deep, BT. Okay, thank you, BT June. Amir with the super chat saying, can you tell me what losing their legitimacy will do? They still could hold authority with weapons. Yeah, but the people who hold those weapons will not have faith in the regime, and they will not be loyal to the regime. It's really difficult for a tyranny to... So here, dictators can use force to rule over people with only 5% or even 3% support. But it's really, really difficult for a dictatorship to stay in power with less than 1% support. Like, it's not sustainable to have less than 1% support. Even dictators need a level of support to be able to manage things. At some point, if you have less than 1% support, you're going to lose your grip over, you're going to lose control. Yeah. You can't just keep shooting everybody. And thank you, Amir, for the super chat. Sherry gave us a super sticker. Thank you so much, Sherry. Always supporting us. Very sweet. Okay, what's the next topic?
All right. The next topic is a situational report general situation report from Jeffrey. Go ahead, Jeff.
What's up, guys? All right, real quick, just to give a quick overview of where things sit in the Persian Gulf. So, a basic overview or a snapshot, you have a fragile operational pause between the United States and the regime remnants. As per the MOU, it's under heavy strain, obviously, from Hormuz shipping attacks and tit-for-tat strikes. Late June 2028, the United States and regime remnants agreed to pause further engagements. High-level talks are set for Doha tomorrow. Qatar on June 30th. Trump claims the regime remnants. Well, President Trump had stated that the regime remnants had requested it. Regime remnants has publicly denied scheduled meetings. Israel continues independent operations against Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, and the Iranian regime is clearly using asymmetric tactics in the Strait of Hormuz and limited strikes on our bases as a means to put pressure against the United States. U.S. actions in a more focused detail. June 26th, 27th, we conducted airstrikes against regime remnant military targets, particularly on Qessim and a couple other places. And they focused on surveillance, air defense, drone storage, communications, mine laning sites in response to regime remnants' attacks against commercial shipping. June 28th, we responded to regime remnants' missile and drone attacks on U.S. bases in Bahrain and Kuwait while maintaining pressure on regime infrastructure. Late 2008 and 29, we have this agreed pause. We're planning those talks. Israeli actions. Our IDF allies have destroyed a major Hezbollah underground tunnel complex, as people rightly pointed out. North Korean regime plays a role in helping provide Hezbollah with the expertise, wherewithal on how to build them. It was a 200, well, it was very long, deep, and underground and packed with all kinds of weapons and rocket launchers rest near, I can't pronounce this, Majdal Zaun. Required ground engineers, as it was too deep for us to take out, or them to take out with airstrikes. It constructed multiple strikes on Hezbollah targets and militants in southern Lebanon. They killed several Hezbollah fighters. One IDF officer, Captain Hazout, was killed in the engagement with Hezbollah. Godspeed, brother. They maintain and expand pilot zones and security frameworks in southern Lebanon. They're continuing operation with full freedom and action to secure Israel's northern border. Regime remnants, the IRGC, they launched drone strikes on June 27th against the Panama flag tanker MT Kirku in the Strait of Hormuz, June 28th. They fired drones and ballistic missiles at the U.S. Fifth Fleet in Bahrain and Al Salam Air Base in Kuwait, hit residential buildings in Bahrain. They asserted full control over the Strait of Hormuz. That's what they said. And it would stay under control for 30 days. That doesn't seem to be holding. And they canceled or denied talks with the U.S. due to recent strikes, and they're using asymmetric tactics, shipping, harassment, and the rest to try and maintain pressure. Hezbollah's actions, they killed Hezbollah yesterday, tragically killed an IDF officer in a small arms engagement in southern Lebanon. They've outright rejected the June 26 Israeli-Lebanon-U.S. framework and called it null and void. They've warned of a quote-unquote civil war risk in Lebanon and that their fighters will remain on trigger, which, they've been doing that for a while now. So I'm very hopeful that the IDF will clean them out. Quick statement on regards to commercial shipping and aircraft. Shout out goes to Kat for all of her work on open intelligence assessments and those two issues. You have U.S. Joint Maritime Information has widened an alternative route in Oman to support traffic and challenge regime remnants' control over shipping through the strait, particularly at a very particular choke point. Shipping is disrupted and risky. It's not fully closed. Commercial aircraft, there's no major new incidents, shoot-downs, or mass flight cancellations. There's broader caution regarding that. As far as Trump's statements, he called the Iranian drone attacks on Hormuz shipping foolish. Warned if U.S. reaches a point where it's no longer reasonable, the Islamic Republic while the regime remnants will no longer exist. And of course, posted that the regime remnants requested a meeting. Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's prime minister, has emphasized that the IDF has full freedom of action with no restrictions to protect Israel, and said that those operations are independent of U.S. regime remnants tracks, which I appreciate. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. As far as U.S. force posture, real quick to close it off. So we maintain a significant force presence in the Strait and or the Persian Gulf. Generally, it's for high readiness, defensive and offensive posture, protecting commercial shipping, deterring regime remnants activity, and retaining strike capacity against those regime remnants. We have a carrier strike group. We have multiple Alibur cruisers and destroyers actively patrolling the Strait of Hormuz and or Persian Gulf and its approaches, and it's focusing on maritime security and providing security to shipping. We moved in U.S. I'm going to get to the Marine. So we maintain a joint maritime information center that's very much to provide situational awareness for commercial shipping. We have amphibious elements. We have strike aircraft in the area, ISR, which is information, surveillance, and reconnaissance and support. Here's one of the issues that's pretty significant. So you have 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit, MEU, about 2,200 Marines, as moving toward and reinforcing the region in direct response to recent Hormuz escalation. They're very much centered around, or they possess infantry, aviation, logistics, and amphibious capabilities for raids and security, and or to say take some very specific islands. So I guess in a nutshell, what you would say is that you have U.S. hitting regime remnants capabilities. Israel and our Israeli allies are methodically defanging Hezbollah's arm, very much mentioned by striking their infrastructure. And, that's kind of where things sit. Why can't I turn up? There we go. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for that report. Right now, the only tool I have is from me. I would just like to add to that Marco Rubio just met with the Army Deputy Commander Saddam Haftar. This is from his post, I believe. This was minutes ago, not even an hour. Saddam Haftar to discuss unifying Libya's military and building the conditions of lasting peace. The U.S. will continue working with Libyan leaders and international partners to support more peaceful, unified, and prosperous Libya. We also had Central Command sending in a trip to the Middle East, Admiral Brad Cooper engage with senior civilian and military leaders in Israel and Lebanon. So like the big military heads are meeting over in Lebanon. While in Lebanon, Cooper and his staff met with the President Joseph Aoun and Lebanese Armed Forces Commanding General Radolf Heikel. The leaders discussed a path forward, implementing a historic framework agreement signed in Washington, D.C. on Friday. So this is going towards what I had spoken before about when you're doing joint force strikes and joint operations. We started doing this after the whole Jimmy Carter is like trying to go to Iran and not working out. There's moves being made for joint operations. When I remember, I had said, look, maybe the Lebanese army is going to start working with the Israeli army and the Americans army. This is just the three armies getting together for joint operations against Hezbollah, something I would think would be nice. In Israel, Cooper also visited deployed U.S. troops and recognized exceptional performance, outstanding mission contributions. More than 50,000 American service members are currently operating across the region. 50,000 Americans are over there. I wanted to bring that to your attention. And we have some breaking news. 6 dead in Germany for the mass shooting. 45-year-old man of Turkish descent opened fire at a facility for pregnant women and young mothers near Hamburg. All 6 victims were employees. Several others hospitalized. Suspect is in custody. And that's what I have. I have a video, but I don't want to put the video because it's just a guy getting arrested and I don't want to get too much into that. So that's what I have on that. Just to add a little bit of, a little something I saw I thought interesting to the report. And with that, we can check again for any more tools. We can check for super chats. Are there any more super chats?
No, there's no super chats. Thank you for that update, though. Thank you.
All right. Next, we have Kathy, and her topic is Vahidi versus Ghalibaf. Go ahead,
Mahidi
Kathy.
versus Ghalibaf. Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so this is more of a speculation and a question, and correct me if I'm wrong about anything, but I don't think I think Vahidi was eliminated, and I believe that Ghalibaf had something to do with it, because if you think about it, the IRGC is loosely cooperating with the United States to the point that there's a direct line with SEPCOM. And I don't think that would have been possible if Vahidi was still alive. And Ghalibaf has used to be the IRGC leader. So he has experience leading the IRGC. So that's just why I think that. And that's my question. I guess my question would be, what do you think about that speculation?
I think that is very possible. It's not 100% certain. Like, remember, the IRGC is not just Vahidi. Just because they made him the head of IRGC doesn't mean that he has absolute control over the IRGC. There are currently many important people within the IRGC, like Musavi, Ghani, Abdullahi, Nejat, Jafarian, Zolgat. Ghalibaf himself is still very much linked to IRGC and has loyal people and people who are not just loyal, but also people who depend on him within the IRGC. So the IRGC itself is not just a monolith. It has many different segments that sometimes work with each other. Sometimes they more work against each other. They're still motivated to work with each other for the whole thing not to come tumbling down, but they do have different interests at sometimes. It is, I wouldn't be at all surprised if Ghalibaf helped the Americans take out many of the important people within the Islamic Republic. I think it's very possible that Larijani's death was Ghalibaf selling him out. I think it's very possible that Shaham Khani's death was Ghalibaf selling him out to the Americans. I think it's very possible that when President Trump says regime change has happened and the people working with me are giving me everything, I think that it might be he might be saying that is because Ghalibaf is helping him do all of these things, right? Maybe that's what President Trump is saying that he cannot share, and he's just like so excited, like, guys, you have no idea, I can't tell you, but it's so great what's happening. Like, so it might be the case, right? So one thing that is might also be true is that maybe Vahidi is in hiding, afraid of Ghalibaf, and maybe he cannot remember. Like, a lot of the Vahidi recently brought Jafari back into power. Maybe the reason, maybe he's not dead, but he doesn't have much control because he's afraid of showing himself. We also saw recently that almost every other important person within the IRGC, well, not everyone, like most of the important people within the IRGC, basically kissed the ring and bent the knee to Ghalibaf recently. Ghani came out and endorsed the negotiations. So did Abdullahi. So did Musavi. These are very important people. Vahidi wasn't heard of. Maybe even though he's technically this, on paper he's the head of IRGC, maybe he is being sidelined, and other people are in control. So maybe he's just in hiding, afraid of the Americans and afraid of Ghalibaf. That's also a possibility. Also, I do want to say that the lines of communication between Americans and the Islamic Republic is actually a lot more than just that. It's actually, it has never been this much direct communication, the official confirmed transparent communications that are out there. Like, we know, for example, that there's at least 3 lines of communication that we know of. One is President Trump and Ghalibaf. The other one is the Witkoff, Jared Kushner, and JD Vance group on WhatsApp with Arakchi. We know that, like, that is happening. And also we know military, IRGC and CENTCOM now have a direct line of communication in Doha with each other to avoid things escalating too much in the Persian Gulf. So this is like the highest amount of direct lines of communication that the Islamic Republic and United States have had since the past 47 years, since ever with the Islamic Republic. So what do you think, Kathy? Did I even respond to your question?
No, you did. What you're saying makes a lot of sense. And to your point, the IRGC is not a monolith. It just makes things a little more clear and creates other speculations. But if I have another question, I'll put a 1 in the chat.
Thank you. Great question, by the way. I'm glad that you brought it up.
Thank you.
All right. I don't see any other tools on this topic. We can check for super chats. Do we have any super chats?
Nope, no super chats. We could go to the next topic.
All right. Next topic is Zunair, if I'm reading that right. It's on Masi Ajini inquiry. She has a question about that person.
Okay, Masi Ali Najad. Okay, go ahead. You're muted. Unmute yourself.
Hear me now?
Yes, we could hear you.
So, as a United States citizen, understanding what is happening in Iran is very, very confusing. And there are probably only 2 people that I trust, because we all know that there was a blackout in Iran. They intentionally cut the internet, cut all communication, which was very, very intentionally done for a reason. But there are 2 people that I trust when it comes to Iran. One of them is you, Armin, and the other one is Masi Ajinadad, because when she speaks on CNN or MSNBC, everything she says sounds so accurate, so on point, so brave, so resilient. And I think that she is the voice of a generation. It makes, when she speaks, it makes perfect sense to me. It makes perfect sense to me. So my concern is, why is it that you and maybe other people are giving her the non-benefit of the doubt? Like, what information do you have that I don't have? And what can you share with me that can, because I just don't understand why we would be opposed to her when she is saying very, very strong things. Can you please give me some additional information? Maybe I don't have the evidence. Maybe there's some data out there. Maybe there's information out there that I am not aware of. Thank you.
Before I respond to you, you do know that she's hated by the majority of the Iranian people. You do know that, right?
No, I did not know that, because I don't live in Iran and I don't speak to the Iranian people on a daily basis. I live in Michigan.
Yeah. Okay. So that's okay. It's okay. I'm not saying you should know that. I was just wondering. Sorry, I should have asked that question. Like, I was just wondering if you know that. Okay. So the fact that she acts like she represents the Iranian people is already a lie there, right? Because the Iranian people are disgusted by her, absolutely disgusted by her. I could give you the reasons, but just know that, like, Masi Ali-Najad is one of the most hated people by Iranians, right?
Can you give me some factual evidence to support that?
Right. So Masi Ali-Najad is in competition with Princess of Pahlavi. She wants all the attention. And over the years, we have seen so much behavior by her that she does everything and anything to be the center of attention, as in competition with Princess of Pahlavi, right? She has repeatedly spoken against Princess of Pahlavi, right? Attacked him. She has repeatedly tried to first demonstrate herself as an equal to him, and eventually, when that didn't work out, to go against him, right? Every time the Iranian people, like for years ago, when Iranian people wanted to make him the leader of the revolution, she was starting a campaign to say, we don't need a leader, everybody is a leader. She, once the Iranian people turned against her because of that, she went on shows on Iran International and everywhere else, attacking Prince Reza Pahlavi, attacking his position, basically suggesting that that we should hold him accountable.
What were her attacks specifically?
So many different attacks. Basically, he's not doing this, he's not doing that, he's not being accountable, he's not being answering questions, even though Princess Pahlavi answers more questions more than anyone else, and he's the most accessible to journalists. People, it's actually very interesting because Masih Alinejad, it gets worse, by the way. I'm starting with the smallest thing, right? Let me work my way up, okay? So even though Masih Alinejad is not available for answering questions and Princess Pahlavi is, she was accusing him of not being available and not doing enough and not being accountable. So all this stuff, okay? So, but let me work my way up.
Can I ask a question? Why do I see Masih on the news, but I don't see Princess Pahlavi on the news?
Princess Pahlavi is always on the news. He's available everywhere. He's talking all the time to different journalists, right? Masih Alinejad is attention grabbing person. Like, she knows what to do to get seen more. Her entire thing. So she has given up on the Iranian people. She is now focusing on Westerners who don't know how much she's hated by the Iranian people, and she's using her ignorance to she has made a lot of money, and she's using all of that money to spend on basically getting as on many platforms as possible for her to be the representative of the Iranian people that Westerners see, without actually telling them that she is. Yeah, can I go through the list, please? Let me go through the list, okay? One of the main things that she did that made Iranian people originally go against her was when she worked with separatists as a way to get close to Macron, to have a meeting with Macron, right? So she worked with Kurdish separatists to arrange a meeting with Macron to increase her credibility, and in return, she started supporting them and platforming them on her show Tablet inside to an Iranian audience. And that was the beginning where a lot of Iranians realized that she's going to do everything and anything to basically begin to be seen, right? So because she realized that if she sits next to Macron and has videos of her speaking to her, that would gain her credibility. So she worked with Kurdish separatists to be able to arrange that, and in return, a lot of her language became in support of Kurdish separatists, and that is an unforgivable sin to the Iranian people to support Kurdish separatists. Like, you cannot get more anti-Iranian than supporting Kurdish separatists. That was the beginning.
What is Kurdish separatists?
Kurdish separatist groups are people who are anti-Iranian, and they are trying to challenge the border integrity of Iran. The most sacred thing to the Iranian people is their integrity of their borders. And Masih Alinejad started working with the people who wanted to basically take parts of Iran and turn it into free Kurdistan. That was the first unforgivable sin, right? Then, after that, then we saw that how constantly she's pushing against Princess Pahlavi and is trying to act like she's an equal to him or even better than him. That was something that disgusted a lot of people. Then after when the Lion and Sun revolution happened, and you saw so many videos coming out of Iran, right? So you remember, you know what I'm talking about? Like early January, when the Iranian people did in early January with the massacre that happened.
I don't think they're videos, because I think the internet was shut down, right? If there were videos, then I would have seen the videos.
There's a lot of videos of the mass uprising of the Lion and Sun Revolution early January by the Iranian people. They're like, the internet was flooded with videos of
About like massacring people, like gun massacring.
So there are videos of Iranian people being massacred, but there was also, before the internet shut down, when millions of Iranians came out, before the internet was shut down, did you see all the videos of the large number of Iranians shouting, chanting, Javid Shah, Pahlavi will return? Did you see those videos?
I did, I believe.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
So when that was happening, Masih Alinejad was cherry picking, like she was posting those videos on social media, and she was cherry picking videos. She was only posting videos where the Iranian people were chanting "Death to the Islamic Republic, death to Khamenei," but she purposefully avoided posting any videos that had Javid Shah in it or any videos that had Pahlavi will return. So she was censoring the Iranian people who were out in the streets, risking their lives to be able to shout Pahlavi's name and asking for his return. The Iranian people were risking everything to be able to say that to the world. And this woman decided to take videos and purposefully not include the ones that the Iranian people were shouting Javid Shah and that Pahlavi would return, and only posting the ones that had death to the Islamic Republic and death to Khamenei or a chance like that. She was cherry picking them. And then eventually when she was being called, she was being flooded in the comments that people were calling her out, like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is too obvious what you're doing. So once she got flooded with those comments, she started posting just a few in between that had Javid Shah in there, but most of it was just, even after that, was basically the videos that didn't include support for Pahlavi. So I have more, by the way. She, for some reason, after this massacre happened, after this uprising happened, she was chosen to speak in the at the UN on behalf of the Iranian people to come and talk about this massacre and this uprising that just happened. The Iranian people came out in the millions early January for two main reasons: to fight against the Islamic Republic, but also to bring Pahlavi back to Iran. That uprising happened because of the call to action of Princess Pahlavi, and the Iranian people came out not just against, saying that they came out against the Islamic Republic misses half of why the Iranian people came out for. The Iranian people came out for the return of Pahlavi, not for just the removal of the Islamic Republic. They came out in the streets for the return of Pahlavi. And when she was speaking, I don't know who picked her. I'm not done speaking. I'm not done speaking. What was I saying? But I don't know for what reason Masih Alinejad came out and acted like she's like who chose her as a representative of the Iranian people at the United Nations. But when she came out, she didn't say anything about Pahlavi. She didn't say anything about Pahlavi. She came out and spoke for a long time about what happened, and she did not reflect the voice of the Iranian people. She didn't mention Princess Pahlavi. And now when she's going around and she's speaking, she's also misrepresenting the wishes of the Iranian people, because when she goes out in the media, on the news, she doesn't say what the Iranian people are fighting for, because that challenges her position. She goes everywhere and she talks and she acts like she's representing the Iranian people. She's not honest with people. She doesn't say that the Iranian people hate me, and she doesn't say what the Iranian people want. She doesn't mention Pahlavi because that challenges her position. She's acting like she is a representative of the Iranian people. She's not. She gave a seat to the Kurdish separatists at the leadership council that she was trying to create. She became the voice of the Kurdish separatists, and she's anti-Pahlavi. And yeah, so that's why the Iranian people hate her. Go on. What did you want to say?
So if she is anti-Pahlavi, what is wrong with that specifically?
The Iranian people came out and bled for Pahlavi. So if she's there's nothing wrong with her being anti-Pahlavi. She could be anti-Pahlavi, but she's not the voice of the Iranian people. and the Iranian people hate the fact that she goes around and act like she represents them. If she's anti-Pahlavi, she should be honest with that, and she should basically act like she's representing her own views. She's free to be anti-Pahlavi, and the Iranian people are free to be against her for being anti-Pahlavi. If she's anti-Pahlavi, her goals and her wishes are basically at complete odds with the wishes and wants of the Iranian people. If she's against Pahlavi, she's against the Iranian people, because the Iranian people are doing a revolution for the return of Pahlavi. So if she's against that, she's against the Iranian people, and she's against Iran, and she has every right to be against Iran. But just know that supporting Masih Alinejad is supporting a force against the Iranian people, and is supporting a force against Iran. The Iranian people have never been disunited. The Iranian people are united more than ever before against the Islamic Republic under the leadership of Prince Reza Pahlavi. When they came out early January to protest and do an uprising against the regime, when the regime started killing them in tens of thousands, they put their hands in their own bloods and they wrote Javid Shah on the wall with their own blood. They want the whole world to know that this revolution is for the return of Pahlavi. And Masih Alinejad goes around on Western media and acts like she's representing them, but she hates Pahlavi. She wants her to be the focus of the attention, not Princess of Pahlavi, and she's misrepresenting the Iranian people, and that's why the Iranian people hate when she gets invited on different segments and on the news, because then Americans, she knows what to say. She knows that Americans and other Westerners, where especially the right-leaning people, if she comes and speaks against the mullahs, she speaks against Islam, she's against Islamic theocracy, people like they love to hear that, right? So she knows that, okay? And she thinks like she's relying on the fact that many Westerners know that the Iranian people are against the Islamic Republic and Islamic rule, so they think when she's saying that, then that she must be representing the Iranian people, and they enjoy her aggressive voice against Islamic rule and the mullahs. Okay, but the Islamic Republic also likes what she's saying, because the Islamic Republic has for years funded anti-Islamic Republic content creators as well. I don't know if you know this, but the Islamic Republic has actively been funding and supporting anti-Islam and anti-Islamic content creators as long as they also attack Pahlavi, because the Islamic Republic knows that it has lost the battle when it comes to Islam and Islamic rule. It's not even trying to win that battle because it knows that it has lost that battle to the Iranian people. So it's focusing on attacking Pahlavi. So if you are somebody that is anti-Islam and anti-Islamic rule and anti-Islamic Republic, but at the same time attacks Pahlavi, the Islamic Republic loves that, because it knows that the battle that it needs to win right now is the support for Pahlavi. The Islam battle has already been lost. So given how much the anti-Islam narrative is popular among the Iranian people, the anti-Islamic rule, anti-Islamic narratives are popular, the Islamic Republic actually even leans into that, if it also means that you will be attacking Pahlavi. Because the Islamic Republic is threatened mostly by Pahlavi now, not by anti-Islamic narratives, by Pahlavi. So anybody who's against Pahlavi is helping the Islamic Republic.
You make a very compelling point, and you probably know more about this than I ever will, because that is your forte. But in order for me personally to make a judgment or a decision, I have to have very, very strong evidence, and I will look into it. I will look into. I'll do some research. I will investigate it. But at this point, I don't know if I feel like the evidence condemns
Easy
her.
things to look.
But
Easy things
perhaps,
to look for. Sorry, did I interrupt you? If you finish your thoughts.
Go on, please.
So
sir.
no, first of all, I appreciate you. First of all, here's the thing. Not knowing this is normal. Okay. You wanting to know more information about this is appreciated. You know, you being skeptical about it, wanting to come gather more information is appreciated. And I actually appreciate the fact that you're not just believing me because I said something. Okay. That is actually the correct way to do this, you know. So I come and I give you what I think. So I point you in the right direction so you could go do your research and find the evidence for it. So you're doing the right thing. You shouldn't be coming here and I'm telling just accept something just because I told you, right? But I'm pointing you in the right direction so that you could go look for the evidence to see. I think your investigation will be a lot easier if I tell you what to look for, right? So one of the things you could look for is whether this revolution, whether this uprising is actually about bringing Pahlavi back to Iran, right? Okay, and you could also say, well, is Masih Alinejad representing that, right? Are the Iranian people inside Iran in favor of Masih Alinejad or not? You could look at that, right? And here's the thing: even if you think that them being against Masih Alinejad is wrong and unjustified, at the end of the day, it's the will of the Iranian people, and we want the revolution of the Iranian people to be based on what they want, right? So if Masih Alinejad is hated by Iranians, even if you don't agree with them, at the end of the day, that means that she doesn't represent them, right? So if she's hated by them and she doesn't represent them, when she goes around and pretends that she represents them, that's not being honest.
I agree.
I appreciate you, by the way, you investigating this and looking into this. And I also appreciate you for caring about the Iranian people and their liberation. Okay.
I appreciate you, Armin, very much. Very, very much.
Thank you.
All right. And we have a tool on this topic. Please go ahead, Jeffrey.
Oh, I was just gonna sum it up. So, well, not that I need to sound Armin. I mean, His Highness Prince Reza Pahlavi has broader support inside Iran, and as Armin outlined, is often chanted during protests as a unifying anti-regime figure. Mashiq, I'm gonna butcher her name. Mashiq, she had particularly strong support amongst younger women due to her direct focus on hijab and women's rights prior to January 26, 2026. It was because of, I mean, that kind of faltered even before. I'm saying the opposition to her dropped, or her support dropped very precipitously after January 2026 because of her opposition to His Highness Prince Reza Pahlavi after Iranians chanted Prince Reza Pahlavi's name as a focus of their resistance, right? So her doing that was kind of like saying fuck you to Iranian resistance who were bleeding inside Iran. You know, it was kind of like she co-opted and then tried to redefine the very thing that they were suffering and dying for.
All right. Next to respond on this topic, we have Kathy.
Hello. How do you pronounce your name? I don't want to butcher your name. I apologize.
Zunair, is that how you pronounce your name? Do you want to answer?
Zunair?
Yeah, Zunair.
Zunair is my name. Yes, correct.
So, I will say when it comes to gaining, this is just a suggestion. At the end of the day, you do what's right for you. But when you're trying to grab information or listen to the news regarding to what's happening in Iran, Go where the Iranian diaspora goes. And I promise you, the Iranian diaspora is not listening to CNN. None of us do. Because CNN reports on what the Islamic Republic wants to be said, not the accurate information. So a good reference would be Iran International, 2CTV, Goldie, Armin. Those are just a couple of suggestions. There are more to name, but that's just my recommendation. Stop watching CNN when it comes to Iran.
Or anything. All right.
But Kathy, just the problem is that Masih Alinejad also gets invited on right leaning and on Fox News even. What do you
You're I personally don't, whenever she's on TV, I don't listen to her, especially since, just for reference, I'm half Iranian and half Cuban, and I have family in Iran and in Cuba. And I have a family member that's a Javinum, and so anything that discredits the Iranian people, I don't watch or listen to. So I don't listen to her at all.
Kathy, I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
And Kathy, I'm going to make you a VIP member so you have access to all of our group calls.
I appreciate it. Yeah, anything regarding Iran or Cuba, I know a lot. So.
Okay, that's a great combination. Thank you. Okay, Monkey.
Do we have any super chats?
Yes, we have 4. Fickle Nut, thank you so much for the super chat saying the Islamic Republic changed their name to Two Chicken Shit to Fight, so hide in tunnels regime. Okay. All right. Thank you for the super chat. Mad Brick with a super chat saying, as it is very clear, millions of people on the streets of Iran and across the world called Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi as the leader, not Masih. And when she attacks the leader, she can't be people's voice. Yep, exactly. She can't be. And she's basically attacking what the Iranian people bled for in early January. Royat, I think. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. And thank you for supporting us always. We're just going to call you Roy. I read that one. And then we got another super chat from Shannon. Shannon saying, Zunair, skepticism is reasonable. Go look at the rallies around the world and notice all of the Pahlavi signs. I was skeptical at first too. Oh, thank you, Shannon. Yeah, I'm actually a huge advocate of skepticism. So it's good to be skeptical. It's good to also be appreciating skepticism. So if you're certain of something, if you tell somebody that and they don't buy it right away, you shouldn't get angry with them. That's a reasonable position. Just because you're certain of it, they shouldn't just buy it right away just because you told them, right? So it's good when you tell somebody something, even if you have evidence for it. Well, it's going to take them time to go and research it. It's good that they're like, okay, I'll take that into account, right? So don't get angry with people if they don't just immediately buy into what you're saying. That doesn't make any sense, right? And thank you, Shannon. And then Shay, thank you so much for the super chat saying Iran International is mix of pro and against Pahlavi, so take it with a grain of salt. Yes, that's true. I agree with that. So you don't. I'm. By the way, I'm not in favor of not watching media that you disagree with. Like I know a lot of you guys here saying like, oh, don't watch this, don't watch that. I try to watch all of them. I try to watch all of them while being mindful of their bias. Like you know, I watch Nick Fuentes. I watch Anna Kasparian if I had time. I watch Cenk Uygur if I had time. I watch Tucker Carlson. In fact, I try to watch at least more than 50% of what I watch I try to make it so that it's from sources that I do not agree with, because I don't want to be in my bubble. It's not like I trust them, but I do want to see what they have to say. And thank you for the super chat, Shay. All right, what's the next topic?
All right, our next topic is from Halda, and she's talking about a mech update. I would love a mech update. What's going on with that?
I just
MEK.
wanted to do a couple. I'm sorry.
No, MEK. People don't know what MEK is. MEK update, but yes, so go on.
I don't really know how to pronounce it, to be honest with you. Mihadin of Iran. Is that right?
Okay, so MEK, people in the West know. Let me give context to people. So Halda is going to tell us about, give us an update regarding the MEK. We call them the Mujahideen Khalq, but Westerners call them MEK. This is a communist Islamic cult that is against the Islamic Republic, and it's the only group of people that the Iranian people hate more than they hate the Islamic Republic. But go on, Halda.
Okay. I just wanted to give a shout out to an ex-member. Her name is Shima Moen, and she does some excellent analyses and articles. And she just posted this today, this information about MEK that I thought was really important. I mean, it literally lists every single person that is in some level of power within Western and American governments, including former representation. And I thought that was important for those of us moving forward or people that simply don't know. And then I also wanted to give another shout out to another ex-member who did a fantastic 3-part documentary series on YouTube. And she starts at the very beginning, 1979, and goes through today. And her series was really, popular. And I've saved it just for reference, and especially for people who maybe don't know a lot about, the actual historical significance of, the Islamic regime, what they're doing, and especially as it relates to what we're seeing in Western Europe and also in America. And that's really all I wanted to say.
All right. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that. Maybe I could.
All right.
I will share it on YouTube with people as well. Let me just share it for people. Okay, so that's the X and post that she shared, and here's the documentary that she shared. Thank you, Halda. All right.
Yeah,
sorry.
The documentary was also on X, but I thought, I would just direct you straight to YouTube for that one.
All right. Go ahead, Monkey. Thank you, by the way, Halda.
We don't have any more tools or topics at this moment.
That's good because we're basically on time. Like we're at 8 minutes anyways. So you guys could continue the conversation without me. I do have one super chat that I could read, and then I could go eat, and you guys continue the conversation here without me. Okay. Oh, Rebecca is here. Okay, yes, there are 2 Rebeccas. Okay, so let me read. Nail Bunny gave us a super chat saying Armin follows all the pro-regime. By the way, thank you, Nail Bunny. Nail Bunny saying Armin follows all the pro-regime scumbags on X. Yes, I do. Which shows he's not afraid to look at truly vile content he doesn't agree with. Well done, Armin. Oh, thank you. Yes, I actually, Nail Bunny, I get a lot of shit because of that. There's so many people contact me like, Armin, why the fuck are you following this guy? Unfollow. Do you not know this? Like, I know. I get so many unfollows because like sometimes there are campaigns of unfollowing people that follow this guy or unfollowing person that follow that guy. So I sometimes get hit with some of these unfollow campaigns. And my X inbox is a lot of requests for me to unfollow certain people. But yeah, I'm like, guys, if I have to unfollow all the garbage people that I follow on X, it would take a month for me to go find them and unfollow every single one of them. Like I cannot do that. And they're like, Armin, you should follow them on a different account, not your main account. Like it's too late. And I can't keep switching between accounts anyways. Like I just want to do everything on one account. Anyways, yeah, that's what I do. Thank you, Nail Bunny. That's why like my feed on X is like so much Durka and so much communist stuff, so much cultish stuff like on my feed on X. But yeah, go on.
I had some words. Please subscribe to the channel. Give it a like. Goldie is back. Make sure you show her some support. Guy is back. Make sure you show him some support. I believe Armin will be on later with Ali, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Yes. And after that, I'll be around if anybody wants to drop by. And I appreciate everyone for coming. Remember, like, subscribe, leave a comment. That helps the algorithm.
Yes. Okay, guys. So that's me. You guys continue the conversation here without me. And remember, for people who might be new here, once I leave, it's less organized. Like you don't have to ask for your turn. You could just, I don't know how it works because I'm never here once I leave. So I heard it's chaotic sometimes when I leave, which is fun. Okay, so I'm gonna go get ready for the next show in half an hour with Ali. Guys, who are watching us here, I'm gonna be live exactly where we are live right now, and also on Ali's channel. So I'll see you guys there. And for the group, I'll see you guys same time tomorrow. And until then, I'm Israel Chai, Slava Ukrainie, Cuba Libre, Long Live America, Javid Shah, Payande, Iran. Mwah. See you guys.